Well, God blessed me, and my parents, guided me. But I really saw it as an opportunity to see this country in a unique way, right? Because I had no idea. The stuff I saw when I went to the Harvard Business School, I had no idea it existed. And what it allowed me to see over these 30 plus years, which has got us to this Vibranium network, is just the reality of these systems. So, that's the way I thought about the world. But now I started seeing, just what was going on in the world, like people making millions, billions, trillions. And I just was like, wow, like my dad is just as smart as all these people. You know what I mean? What is the disconnect? So it really put me on this journey, one of pursuing my love of entrepreneurship. So either my own entrepreneurship or being part of great organizations like Bad Boy Entertainment, supporting Sean Combs. And you know what I mean? There was something off in the system. So learning about it and understanding it and really just getting tired of talking about it and saying, what can we actually do to change things, led me to the Vibranium idea, which was around, we now have technology that would allow us to actually do the things we've been talking about. When we're given a tool like this, we gotta look up and say, we've been talking about how do we get rid of these disparities? How do we do something different? And we get these tools, right? And we're like, wait a second, where do these tools come from? You know what I mean? Like somebody trying to help us. Right. But yet what happens is, and this is why we have to talk about how things get taken off course. What happens is the same people rush in and say, well, I'm taking this for my good. And then the greedy people, they come in and they really kind of use these tools in the way they weren't set for.
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video. All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. So listen, consider the following stats. African Americans, the median wealth is 10% of whites. Projections show that by 2053, 50% of African American households will have a net worth of 0 or less. And Africa is the poorest continent with a GDP of $1,860 per capita versus $49,430 in North America. Although we are the biggest consumers and creators, African Americans' contribution to content creation, trend making, and influence has not translated into ownership and wealth building. In the U.S., only 1.9% of media is owned by African Americans. Despite the incredible wealth and resources of the United States, attempts to improve the system and narrow the wealth gap have not been successful. Let's bring in Derek Ferguson, chairman of Vibranium Central Foundation, is launching a network that will serve as a closed loop economy connecting the U.S. and Africa, which is powered by blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Ferguson is in the building.
Oh man, what's up, Ash Cash, man?
Yo,
yeah.
When I tell you the conversation that we had behind the scenes is so powerful and helped me understand really how powerful what you're building with Vibranium, with the network. It's something that a lot of us, we ideated for a long time. And we talk about this wealth gap between, black and white, and the truth of the matter is that we're called the minority most of the time, but the truth is we're not, right? When we look at us in the diaspora in the United States, the collectiveness, we have the amount of people, we have the money, we have the creativity, we have the ideas. So we're gonna get into all that, but before we get started, for those who don't know, who is Derek Ferguson?
So Derek Ferguson, first I just got to start from the beginning. Grew up in the Bronx. Parents are from segregated South. Neither one of them graduated college, but they stressed education in the household. So I always did incredibly well in school. Graduated high school at 16. Went to the university in Bronx schools, and then Stuyvesant High School. And then went to University of Pennsylvania Wharton School at the age of 16, graduated at 20. Went to the Harvard Business School, graduated at 25. So it was really this whole
genius.
Well, God blessed me, and my parents, guided me. But I really saw it as an opportunity to see this country in a unique way, right? Because I had no idea. The stuff I saw when I went to the Harvard Business School, I had no idea it existed. And what it allowed me to see over these 30 plus years, which has got us to this Vibranium network, is just the reality of these systems and what they really mean to us. So my father was an entrepreneur, so I got to see what that looked like, right? And in our neighborhood, he was like a big deal. My father, everybody in the neighborhood, their first job was with my father because he would hire people from the neighborhood. He owned a trucking company. So I saw that. I was like, how could you be bigger than that? You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest you could be, So, that's the way I thought about the world. But then I started seeing, just what was going on in the world, like people making millions, billions, trillions. And I just was like, wow, like my dad is just as smart as all these people. Right. You know what I mean? What is the disconnect? So it really put me on this journey, one of pursuing my love of entrepreneurship. So either my own entrepreneurship or being part of great organizations like Bad Boy Entertainment, supporting Sean Combs, and just really seeing entrepreneurship up close and understanding it and understanding all of our capabilities and the way we can impact industry. So I saw it up close with Sean Combs and all the stuff he did. So I know we can do it, right? But then why is this system structured in a way where, some people are getting billions of dollars to lose even before they make a penny. Right. And I work for somebody who's only had success, and it's hard for us to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what I mean? There was something off in the system. So learning about it and understanding it, and really just getting tired of talking about it and saying, what could we actually do to change things, led me to the Vibranium idea, which was around, we now have technology that would allow us to actually do the things we've been talking about. None of these are original, like just new ideas, right? Going back to Marcus Garvey, who's like, look, they don't want to give us a fair shot here. Let's all go back to Africa and start our own businesses and commerce and do that, going up to like Claude Anderson and his book, Powernomics. It was about collective economics. But the reality is that was much more difficult when you had to deal with space and travel and people had to connect physically. Now we have really a digital engine, a technology engine that brings us together like this. So Vibranium will bring us all together on an app, right? US and Africa, we're gonna be able to do commerce. We're gonna be able to share content and earn money. We're gonna be able to create. We're gonna be able to get loans and grants to build our businesses and our communities all at the palm of our hand. It's possible now, right? So now is the time to really do it and corral all of our influencer, power, all of our creativity, all of our entrepreneurial genius, to corral it all together to do something differently. The bottom line thing I've concluded after 30 plus years in the business world, you can't change the system in the system. They're not changing it for us. Right. It's gonna be a lot of words, and George Floyd's gonna happen, and if you're old enough like me, Rodney King, and it's gonna be like, oh, we're committing tens of billions of dollars, and we're committing all this money, and then you look at the fine print, it's like $10 billion over 100,000 years. Right. You know what I mean? So it's not, these things are not moving the needle because the fundamental nature of the system is that the rich and powerful get richer. Right. And every once in a while, we'll sprinkle out some success to some people that really can build it up from the bottom up. But it's not an equitable system.
Yeah.
So what should we do? Should we keep fighting and fighting and fighting that system? Sure, let's keep doing that. But meanwhile, we have the power. Let's look at the future and look at what's been handed to us. Take that power and build our own system and build our own economy. Yeah. So that's what we are doing with Vibranium.
And you know, I want to go back to something you talked about, right? Because you talked about you know, being there and watching, you know, someone like Sean Combs, you know, P. Diddy, Love, you know, build what he was able to build, and from that side, watching someone as smart, as entrepreneurial, as trailblazing as Sean Combs, not be able to like almost have to beg, if you will, for access to capital to build some stuff where, you know, you have other people with access to billions of dollars to lose, like you said. But let's go deeper, right? If you think about hip hop, when hip hop started, you know, in the Bronx.
Yes.
And it started as a, you know, as a culture that was ours. You fast forward, you know, 50 years, right? 50 years old now, right? You fast forward 50 years. Now it is a multi-billion-dollar industry that we don't control, though. We created it. We're the majority of the artists, but we don't control it. Where did we go wrong with hip hop?
Yeah, it's great question. And at the foundation of what we're building is correcting what went wrong, right? So when we think about our community and what our real superpower is, clearly, and this impacts everything related to business and culture, is our influence. So at the end of the day, the problem we've had with our influence and the problem with hip hop, and I grew up in the Bronx, so I was born in 1965. By 1978, I had 2 turntables and a mic in my house, a line of guys from the neighborhood trying to get on and mix for like a couple of minutes, you know what I mean? Just waiting for like hours. So we saw this all develop in front of our eyes, but what we didn't do is we didn't set the price, we didn't set the valuation. Everybody was like so enamored with, I got $1 million here, $2 million here, that we allowed big industry to fragment us. Let me pull this creative group over here in this corner. Let me pull this other creative group over here in this corner. I'm gonna offer them this, I'm gonna offer them that. No one saw each other's offers, so we never knew if it was the right price. It was the right price for that person that day, but was the right value for what you were giving up, right? Yeah. So what fundamentally with Vibranium, what we're building is full transparency, the full ability to maximize your price and maximize your value, and the ability to do all of that and retain your ownership. So, you know, what's critical about that is that had we got together collectively and said, you know what, you can't even have this hip hop thing. Or like for us and what we're doing with Vibranium, you can't have this influence. Yeah. Come bid on it. Let us know how you want to pay for it to borrow it, right? How you want to pay us for it. We're going to look at all the bids and the offers in the community. Yeah. One of the great things about blockchain technology is decentralized decision making. The community is going to decide what we're going to then embrace and share, because the price has got to be right, content's got to be right. There's got to be something we that supports our community. So now we've got a fully transparent, a true market. Like, I love when American business talks about us having market-driven results and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, what we're dealing with today is not really market-driven. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if you can fragment resources and fragment ideas and creativity and upset the balance of true value, then you've wiped out the market. The market for us is everybody seeing the offers and saying that's no good, that's no good, that's no good, that's good. Yeah. Our community says that's the right value for what we're going to do. Just quickly going to Puff never really went to go raise a lot of money, but if the market is working right, a guy like him who created, by my count when I was there, 5 businesses from scratch, from zero to hundreds of millions of dollars in sales and hundreds of employees, the money should have been pouring into him. Right. You know what I mean? Like where Spotify got billions of dollars before it made a penny. We just see, with FTX, the biggest shame in that whole story is that young, white entrepreneur who really didn't know what he was doing got billions of dollars from institutions. Right. You know what I mean? Just because he showed up in a meeting, right? Yeah. So, that's the real, shame of what has been happening. And we just got to stop, like, crying about it to some extent and do something new about it.
Yeah.
We've been doing stuff about it. I don't want to, I think everyone is like, driving toward making things better. But the reality is that we have an opportunity to do something totally different, create our own economy using technology. And then most importantly to me is we get very US centric here. I had one of my greatest conversations I've had in my life was with Harry Belafonte. And he was talking about they literally picked Martin Luther King to be the leader. And they were like the entertainers, but they were behind the scenes, like putting together the whole civil rights movement. And he said the difference between then and now is that if we really needed help, we could reach out to African leaders. We could reach out to Brazil. They all had our back. They were all sending money and supporting the movement. He says, today, can you even name 5 African leaders? Do you have anybody on your speed dial that you can call that's going to help the movement? So he really opened my eyes and my thoughts to why aren't we really understanding what's going on outside of the US? And when you take a look at it, you mentioned some of the stats up front, but there's some amazing, incredible stats happening in Africa that is just really opportunistic for us to forge this relationship right now. So just a couple of quick ones that'll blow you away. So first off, there are 1 billion people in Africa, 1 billion.
Wow, yeah.
When we look at the US and we start trying to figure out this marketplace, we're talking about 40 to 50 million African Americans at best in the US, but 1 billion. That's that's 20 times,
Right.
what we have here. So that's 1 billion. But by 2050, another 1 billion people is the fastest growing continent in the world. So there'll be 2 billion people by 2050. Now, the second part is that it's the youngest continent. And by 2050, 45% of all human beings, 25 years or under, will live on the African continent. So I'm gonna say that slowly again. Wow. 45% of all human beings. So close to one half of all human beings in the world under 25 will be on the African continent. So what does that mean? All the creativity and innovation, if we work together, all the creativity, innovation, future thinking, youth energy is in Africa. And all they're looking for right now is to be plugged in. Because they're already sitting back, like you go on the social media, you just scan Ghana, Kenya, you're gonna find everything you have in the US, but 10 times. You're gonna find people doing hip hop, doing drill music, but there's 10 times more people doing it. Right. You know what I mean? Because there's that many people there and they're coming. Yeah. They're coming with their creativity, they're coming with their ideas, their entrepreneurial, they really want to build a future for themselves. And really all they're looking for is connect me to where the action is. So when we started talking about vibranium to this group, they responded like immediately. They're like, you mean you're gonna plug me in to this machine you guys have over here? They're ready and they know they have competitive products, services, and they're just like, plug me in. Like we talk about influence, they have influence. Yeah. They're like, you're gonna help me get paid for my influence? That's great. Where do I sign up? So that's been an incredible energy to see. But honestly, if we don't corral all of that great youth energy and bring it together with everything that we're doing here in the US, it's going to be a huge missed opportunity.
Wow. And so I want to unpack a few things, right? So we talked about vibranium, the vibranium network being a closed loop economy, right? And I recently watched there's this Jewish guy, I forget his Instagram, but he teaches on Jewish wealth. And he teaches about how Jewish people are able to maintain wealth, and they do it through a closed loop economy. And what they do is they don't go outside of their network for products or services. And so the example that he gave was, somebody starting who does real estate. And then that person who needs real estate needs financing. So they'll go to a Jewish banker and they'll get the financing there. And then if they needed like contractors, they'll go to a Jewish contractor. The contractor also needs, services like marketing, advertising, and all these other different services. So they go to someone within the Jewish community that does that. And then that goes right back to the real estate. So all the money stays within that closed loop. And what happens though is because part of their religion, they have to give, right? They have to give to charity.
Right.
And so they keep it in a closed loop because it benefits each other. So now the real estate guy who is going to put his money or borrow from the Jewish banker, that Jewish banker, they want everybody in that loop to make money, because the more money that each person makes in that loop, they give to charity.
Yes.
And that charity is going to support, everybody's school system, the communities, the roadways. And so there's a benefit,
Yes.
right, to that closed loop economy. And so when we talk about, African Americans and, if you go, obviously you go to our communities, there's a Chinese store, there's a Arab bodega, there's a Spanish spot. There's like different, a Korean, like there's so many different cultures within our community, which is said that, money leaves our community within 6 hours.
Right.
I don't know if that's the true,
Right.
number or not, but seeing the Jewish guy talk about a closed loop economy and how that helps with their kids and it supports everybody. And you mentioned, Dr. Claude Anderson,
Yeah.
who also preaches powernomics, and,
Right.
and part of that is that closed loop economy. Using blockchain technology, this is the opportune time for us to create a closed loop economy, but not just here in the U.S., but also with in Africa with the billion Africans.
Absolutely.
And there's the transparency there. So I want you to talk a little bit about the blockchain technology, because I think when people think about cryptocurrency, when they think about blockchain, they think about cryptocurrency, they think about Bitcoin, they think about money, if you will. But the technology is bigger than that.
Yes.
Can you talk about the technology?
Sure.
And why is the technology the pivotal point? Why is the technology the thing that's going to make it so easy for the U.S. and in Africa to connect and create this closed loop economy?
Great. You said a lot. I'm gonna have to touch on a couple of points. One is first on the closed loop economy, and it's going to tie together, right? Because the loop is who we all agree as a community is in the loop. So it's going to start out with like-minded people from like locations, but as we try to grow and expand, as we've done in every situation we've been in, the difference is going to be we're going to grow and expand, and it's not going to be defined by by location, race, this, that, and the other, but it's going to be defined by people who are going to come into this loop and act fairly and honestly, right, and participate in the right way, right? So imagine you have the ability to screen out the ones that don't want to act fairly or want to disrupt, fairness and equity, right? So that's how we're going to create it. But the closed loop, just as an example, very simply. So we have 3 pillars of the Vibranium network, and this was all like thought out, pressure tested for years. Like every week we would just meet and say, poke holes in it. What are the holes? Patch up some holes. Next week, poke some more holes in it. Patch up the holes, right? To you, by the time you're done with that process over a 3-year process, like you either have no holes or very few holes, only a little bit of water getting through because you've tried and thought about everything. And what we got to is that you have 3 basic pillars. One is basically what is your foundational resource that if I'm building an economy, let's just think about it like a country. For my country, what is my basic resource that nobody else has? And we decided early on, based on the hip hop example and all of that is our influence and our way we could drive culture. So that's our natural resource. We got to protect that. Like somebody would protect their diamonds, like somebody would protect anything that their country owns and controls. We got to protect that, right? So that's our resource, our natural resource. Then the other pieces you need is your commerce. So your goods and services. So we're going to build the biggest marketplace, think Amazon, for, between Africa and the US and this like-minded community. We're going to build the biggest commerce engine, commerce vehicle. The third piece you need is you do need community support and stimulus. So the third part is going to be just old-fashioned financing. We're going to issue loans and grants. Loans to businesses that we want to participate on the Vibranium network, and grants to community organizations so that we can keep building our communities while we're building this network. And so why, so just a quick example. I'm Derek Ferguson, rapper, and I'm like, so I want to, Vibranium Network, I want to jump on. How do I do? Well, I got influence. So I'm going to share some content, and I'm going to immediately earn some Vibranium into my account. So I share a bunch of content, earn some Vibranium. So now what do I do next? Well, you know what? I want to make some more music. So I go into the Vibranium commerce section, and I go find some studio services, use my Vibranium to buy studio services, make some more music, right? So then I'm like, man, okay, I need a little bit more money because now I want to promote my own music on this Vibranium network, use this influencer network to promote my music. So I go apply for a business loan through the Vibranium Capital pillar, and they give me a business loan, all in Vibranium again. Use that Vibranium to then pay for this influencer network, and that network shares my content and shares my music. Now I have successful music. I can sell it on the Vibranium store. I borrowed the money from Vibranium Capital. I'm in Vibranium lane all around. That's that closed loop economy. That's like when we talk about the dollar turning over, that's what it looks like, right? But and the reason why we have this currency, why not just do it in dollars? The reason why we have this currency is, one, is we're dealing with multi-nations, some of which have currency issues. So we're solving, a big part of what we're doing is solving a common currency issue across Africa and allowing people to really trade on the same unit of measure, which is influence. So one Vibranium token is really backed by influence, because I could always use that token to access the influencer network, right? So that's one reason why having a currency component is important. Second reason is the more there's demand for that influence, the value of that currency goes up collectively. So we're benefited from putting all the influence into one pie and growing the value of it astronomically, because the whole community benefits from it. So what makes this possible based on blockchain technology is, the first thing is that blockchain technology is decentralized. It allows you to have a decentralized system. And that means that you can create inputs where we are deciding who are the vendors on this community. Community vote. Do we like these vendors? We don't like these vendors. Do they treat people fairly? Do they not? Which content offerings are we going to be comfortable sharing based on the price, what it is, what does the community want to do? Who gets loans and grants? The community will decide that. So blockchain technology and smart contracts have allowed us to build a network which allows us to be decentralized. Blockchain technology
means no middle person.
No middle person. Yeah. So, when I'm calling up, when I'm going to get that loan from Vibranium Central, there's no banker.
There's no banker.
You apply community votes. If it's thumbs up, then you get your Vibranium in your account, within a short amount of time. Yeah. So that's no middle person. The other thing is transparency. So every transaction on a blockchain ledger is viewable. So you can see everything going on the blockchain transparently. So that's really, really important. And then the reason why value can be created with a unique, the reason why items can become unique on the blockchain is the way that the blockchain validates transactions, right? So it's in the case of, there's various ways to do it, but you have each particular transaction is validated in a way that it will stand alone as a unique transaction. And that's important for a whole bunch of things. As you said, there's a lot of use cases for the blockchain, but one of them is that if I can create a unique block, that means I can, if I need to store something that's unique, that's the whole concept of an NFT. If I want to create a currency that that's unique, I can create and track each unit of the currency over time. Or if I want to say I want to store my deed somewhere in a unique digital block, I can do that on the blockchain. So that technology really has allowed us to do something we've never been able to do before. The last thing is this whole idea of bringing communities together, right? So we can, just what really excites me, and we're seeing the prototypes and we're watching this happen, is you turn on your phone and you go to the app and you're seeing what's going on in Ghana. Well, who just got funded in Ghana? Who just got funded in Compton? Somebody in Ghana is voting on a loan application in Compton. Somebody in the Bronx is voting on a vendor that's from Senegal. You know what I mean? So we are connected like we've never been before, talking to each other, understanding each other, and engaging in business with each other like that overnight.
Yeah, and I love that because you know, couple of things that when you think about our communities, you know, and I want to go back to something you said earlier when we give the hip hop example, because of lack of transparency, you have a situation where you know, Jay-Z said this, where like we love the announcement, right? So now, you know, it's like, wow, Puff got the biggest deal he's ever gotten. Wow, Jay-Z just got the biggest deal, 200 million. Then you're like, wow, you know, Cash Money just got this. So now there's no transparency. Nobody is seeing, first of all, nobody's seeing the real deal, right? Because it's only the announcement. It's
right.
only what's being told, but nobody's able to see the actual contracts. Like you know, recently Kanye went online and he was showing his actual contracts, and you're looking at these contracts like, how did you get into this deal?
Right.
Who was your lawyer?
Right.
Like, who allowed you to get into this deal? And so, number one, because, you know, like you mentioned, a lot of the fragmentation,
yeah.
right, where, you know, frankly, we're competing against each other. We're trying to make the biggest announcement, and because we're trying to make the biggest announcement, you know, we're losing as a community. We're losing separately. Where if we were together and there was transparency, the win could happen together, right? And so blockchain technology not only allows us to everybody, the community, to have this transparency, but now when you see, if you see, you know, this person is about to get an offer or whatever the case may be, then the community can decide what the value is, right? And so that's number one. Number two, when you talk about, not having the middleman, right? Decentralized, meaning that, you know, no one person could control it. Like everything, you can't erase, you know, the transaction.
Right.
This goes back to you know, when you think about, and I don't even want to go as far back as slavery.
Mm-hmm.
You think about our ancestors who owned property, and domestic terrorism, KKK, scaring or terrorizing our ancestors back up north. Mm-hmm. Millions of acres of property were lost because of that.
Yes.
So imagine if there was a blockchain technology where your deed is recorded inside of the blockchain, where if there's a situation where someone has to leave, no one can't steal your property and doctor, you know, the documentations to give it, right? And this is true wealth.
Yes.
And so with the blockchain technology, this level of transparency, and I'm just over explaining because I want people to understand that this level of transparency allows us to truly build wealth, right? To really be a part of, you know, this network, right? And so what is needed from us to make this work?
Well, all of what you said is just really, you know, just right, spot on and really important. And it is kind of like, and I know I listen to a lot of how you talk about things, but it's like, when we're given a tool like this, we gotta like look up and say, we've been talking about how do we get rid of these disparities? How do we do something different? And we get these tools, right? And we're like, wait a second, where did these tools come from? You know what I mean? Like somebody trying to help us.
Right.
But yet what happens is, you know, and this is why we have to talk about how things get taken off course. What happens is the same people rush in and say, well, I'm taking this for my good. And then the greedy people, they come in and they like really kind of use these tools in the way they weren't set for. Yeah. So for us, in a way, I look at it like, man, if these tools weren't designed for us to have a new way to transact and do business, then I miss something. Yeah. And so I feel like this is like our unique opportunity, and tools are being dropped down for us. And if we don't take advantage of it, we're just missing out, right? But really, it's very simple. The great thing about the Vibranium Network is, we need everybody. We need people that are going to come on and be influencers and just share their content and earn Vibranium. So just sign up, even if you're like, hey, I can't really buy anything. I don't want to transact necessarily, but I know I got a following. You know what I mean? And who's going to really benefit from this as influencers are the small to medium, influencers, right? Who actually have the real loyal followers. So those are the people that when you send them a link, they're going to open it up. Yeah. And that's going to earn you, currency right off the bat. So, the key thing right now is if you go to vibranium.network, www.vibranium.network, just sign up to be a member of the Vibranium Network. There's no requirements. Right. You get all the information. You'll be one of the first that can join the network. Yeah. And then when you come on, you can just join as an influencer and start earning right away. Yeah. Right? So that's the main thing, is that we need participation. What's really amazing is small amounts of participation will drive an incredible amount of value. When I say small amounts, some of these networks that are building now, either blockchain networks or other tech networks, have 50 to 100,000 loyal people involved. Wow. If we look at 1 billion people in Africa, 50 million people here in the US, if we can't get 1 million people, if we get 1 million people, this is a home run for our community and for everyone involved. Yeah. So it's really just about, let's get involved. And it's easy, it's at your fingertips. So at the end of the day, I'm believing, like everyone's like, well, people don't want to do stuff collectively and everybody's out for themselves. I'm believing that that's not the case. Right. That I'm just going to believe that it's been too hard and too difficult and too complicated, but when it's right there in front of you, and all you got to do is click on it and like, oh wow, okay, I got some Vibranium in my wallet. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I could go use that Vibranium to go buy something. Yeah. And when that starts happening, you're going to be like, I like this. And guess what? It's supporting the value of our natural resource, which is our influence, and growing that value. And it's supporting our communities, our businesses, and our actual communities. Yeah. Seems like it's straightforward, right? And I think our people and people, across the globe, I think people in Africa, I think this is really all what we really want. Yeah. We just been we've been scattered. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you, again, I got to go back to what my foundation is, which is, just thinking about, how God directs it. And God is like, I don't want you to be scattered. I want you to be gathered. Absolutely. And we can gather around just a simple concept. Yeah. Like us working together is better than us being scattered, because scattering is what has created a lot of issues. Absolutely. And, sometimes it wasn't in our control, you know what I mean? It was based on, just overpowering us or what have you. But you know what? We got this thing now with this technology that can allow us to gather again. Yeah.
And so, this is one of the things that I like about it, and I want you to expound a little more on, is not only do we use our influence in order to create this network, if you will, but then also it allows you to, like you said, as you create different products and services within the network, now you don't have to, buy from Nike directly, or you don't have to buy, Balenciaga or any other these things. They're going to be products and services that you can buy within the Vibranium network. Yes. And so in a way, it's like, and correct me if I'm wrong, this in a way could replace the dollar, right? Where, right now people are using the dollar to exchange goods, for the exchange of goods and services. But if I'm a landlord and I accept Vibranium, and now you have to pay your rent, and you have influence within the Vibranium network, and you can pay me directly through the network. Now that money stays there. And so as a landlord, that money that I get, I don't have to exchange it for dollars. I can say, you know what, I wanna get some clothes, and I know a great shop in South Africa that I could buy my clothes from. I could use the currency that the Vibranium I have, buy the clothes, but actually receive the clothes in real time.
Absolutely. So what it's like you must have wrote the business plan, because it's so right now. Here's the thing, Yes. So the key thing is we built it so you could survive. The idea is you could survive in vibranium. You can buy and sell everything you need and survive. And we know that the reality is that there are going to be some people that are like, hey, I want to get in and out. I want to go back into dollars. I want to go into Ethereum. So we're going to allow that to happen as well. But the bottom line is we designed it so that you wouldn't have to. Yeah. You don't have to. So you can really get everything through this network. But you also mentioned something else I want to say. This is another beauty of technology and the blockchain technology. You can build on top of it. So let's say Ashcast is like, you know what, I really want to build a publishing outfit through this same, right on top of the Vibranium platform. I want to build a real estate outfit. I want to build a medical, services on here. We can, it's literally like, as you think about the building blocks, we can allow people to build right off of all of the technology that we're building on Vibranium, open architecture, to build other goods and services and opportunities right on top of it. So that's really the goal. This is like really about, it is a change in thinking, right? Because we have to start really knowing that we don't have every answer. So, Susan, or whoever in Compton, or keep going to Compton, I don't know why. I don't even know why, but San Francisco, right? Or, or Kwame in Detroit may have a great idea, right? Run with it. You know what I mean? You can run with it. You have, we have open architecture, boom, community accepts it or doesn't. This is where it really gets, it really gets to, gets to the point where like, if you're doing something good for the community, it will be added. If it's not good for the community, it won't. You go back to the drawing board. Wow. So I love that part of it as well, in that we don't have to feel like we have to have all the good ideas. Yeah. Good ideas will keep coming.
Yeah. And then from an ownership perspective, who owns the Vibranium network, and how do those within the community, within the network, how do they obtain, a percentage of ownership within that network?
Yeah, that's such a good question. The way these networks work, and with cryptocurrency, essentially, if you own the currency, you own part of you own part of the value.
Yeah.
Right. So as soon as you earn some of the currency or you buy it, there'll be some people that say, hey, I love the idea. I'm not going to do any other transactions on here, but I just want to buy it and hold it. So owning the currency is owning the part of the network. And everybody, based on how much you own, is how much voting power you have.
Got it. And so, how does someone, so now we talk about Africa, the billions of people of Africa, and some of those folks may start with no or limited resources, right? How do we help, our brothers and sisters in Africa build wealth, and, be able to obtain Vibranium from that perspective?
Right. So the way, again, if you're like, hey, I got, all I have is me and my influence, right? And I got my circle of 30 people, 300 people. I'm going to jump on and just start earning Vibranium by sharing content, right? So that's just one way. And it was very important for us to have a democratized way for everybody to participate in some way, shape, or form, and that's it. Yeah. If you got one follower, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or one person you could theoretically like start earning by sharing some content. Obviously, it's not going to be a lot, but at the end of it, you can participate. So that's the key. The key entry point is that you can come on and actually start sharing content and start earning Vibranium, minute one, regardless of who you are and where you're from, basically. Yeah. So that's the key. But what we're driving toward here is a launch of the network by February. Late February is our version 1. We actually have a big event planned in Carnegie Hall, New York. That's right, Carnegie Hall, New York, the Mecca of New York. We're going to have an incredible event, incredible speakers, and we're going to talk about this new economy, right? What I think Vibranium represents is the new way we have to think about economics that's going to be fair and equitable. Right? That's going to be based on technology. That's going to be decentralized. That's going to be transparent. That's going to build businesses, build communities. It's a new economy that we're building, and we want others to come along with us. And we're going to be talking about that at Carnegie Hall, February 27th.
Listen, y'all, February 27th, y'all gotta be in the building. I'll make sure I clear my calendar. I gotta be in the building
Absolutely.
as well. You know, how do you protect this, right? And you know, I know there's somebody watching right now. They have that thought in their head. This all sounds good, you know, but a lot of times when we have these ideas that benefit the Black and brown community, somehow it gets infiltrated and something happens where we don't see it comes to fruition. How do we protect this in order to like really visualize it and really allow us to build this network, this closed loop economy for us?
It's a great question. We thought a lot of those hole pokings we did over the years was around this topic. So we've come up with a few things. One is what has happened with a lot of different networks and token launches and crypto launches is that very quickly the institutions swallowed it up and bought all the tokens and therefore had all of the true ownership and true control of the vote. So one of the things we did is we're limiting we're limiting the amount of voting power you'll have. So it's not 1 for 1. So at a certain point, your voting power will be capped, right? So it's like, you know, up to, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but up to like, let's say 100 vibranium tokens, you'll get a vote. And then if you go above that, you can still own more than that, but you'll only get that one vote. You know what I mean? So therefore that takes away the ability for someone to just go buy it all up, control it, and so on and so forth. So that's number one. The second is what I talked about, which is democratization. So how do you get people into the network and owning and possessing the token that in a way where they don't have to be rich to have it? So there's really two ways. One is through this, I'm just going to get on and start sharing. So now I own the token and I have some ownership, right? The other thing is through our loan and grant network, which I didn't mention. For every 2 tokens that are purchased, 1 will get funneled into this loan and grant system. So we're going to continue to build bring in new participants into the system through the loan and grant network as well. So even as people are buying it up, the way we've set up the central function is that that money will go back into the loan and grant system, which is going out to the community and being voted on by the community to make sure it's going to the right places. So those are some of the mechanisms. We put many mechanisms in place, but those are 2 of them to think about that are really big ones that really no one else has enacted and has caused, like it has resulted in many of these networks being highly centralized despite being billed as decentralized.
Yeah. Listen, y'all, this sounds like the solution. I need y'all to tap in. What have I not asked you? Like, what's missing? What have I not asked you?
I think
you want people to know?
I think it's really important. Motivation, what motivates somebody is really important, and and not everybody knows me, right? So again, and we know this world of social media, a lot of people talking about a lot of different things, but what really motivates me is solving this problem. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, for me personally, I mean, I've been blessed and fortunate. I told you I had very humble beginnings. I couldn't even imagine what I've seen in my life when I was like 5 years old. I couldn't even, like 10 years old. I didn't know these things existed that I've experienced. So I'm great. You know what I mean? Like I'm so blessed and fortunate, but I can't go off and retire and go sit on the beach knowing that not only is this problem not solved, it's getting worse. And and we're not talking about it the right way. We keep talking about it, well, if we just get these couple of more, we just Goldman Sachs to do more and this one to do more, it's not gonna work. When you start meeting, this is one of the things when we talk about people announcing their deals and so on. You know what's amazing? I want everyone as a homework assignment, go look at the top hedge fund earners each year for the last 10 years. Their average earnings, like the top hedge fund earner this year will be over $1 billion that they earned this year.
Wow.
Right? Over $1 billion in this year. There will be names on there you've never heard of. You know why? They don't have to even talk about it. You know what I mean? Making hundreds of millions of dollars a year through hedge fund trading. So at the end of the day, when I came in contact with that, and it's great. We do our calculations. Yeah, on paper I'm worth $1 billion, but you're talking about people that got they're making $1 billion a year, and they got billions in the bank. It's a much different ball game. Like if we think it's a level playing field, I can add up a bunch of like stakes. So I got this stake over here. Don't forget that one. I get $50 for that one. It's gonna put me over the top. Great, we got to do it. It's great. I'm very proud of all the people we can do that with. But there's people walking around with billions of dollars in the bank. You know what I mean? And that's the gap we have to manage. We can do that. I mean, we can have more. Like my goal for Vibranium Network is we should be making 1 million millionaires. Simple. There's enough economics to make that happen. Yeah. And so my motivation is about solving this problem, getting this done. This is not about a get rich scheme on my part, because I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Right. This is really about, I want to see and honestly, I love this because people want to count us out in terms of doing the smart thing and doing the right thing collectively. I'm an optimist. I'll say I am, but I don't believe it. I think when we see it and we believe it and we think the intentions are good, that we're going to lean into it. And we're going to see something miraculous happen, something we didn't think we would see in our lifetimes happen, where real economic value is going to be created, and we don't even have to go to the system to make it happen. It's just going to be really us driving those results. And then guess what? Once we're driving those results on our own, everyone else is going to come because they got to get it. Absolutely. If they don't get our influence, what exists without our influence? Right. Movies don't exist. Music doesn't exist. And most consumer products don't exist. Nothing exists. Yeah. So they got to come, but let them come and play on our terms versus us having to figure out and try to grab a piece of their terms.
Derek Ferguson, y'all, listen, the Vibranium Network is a game changer. Make sure you tap in, join the waiting list. Where can they, join?
Just go right to www.vibranium.network, click on sign up, easy sign up, just your name, email address, you'll get our information. You'll be first on the network in February when we launch, and stay tuned. We're really trying to change the world, trying to do something that's never been done, and you're gonna be a part of it. We can't do it without you.
All right, y'all, Vibranium.network, make sure you tap in. It's gonna cost you nothing, but cost you everything, right? It's going to give you everything. So make sure, go to Vibranium.network, join, and also make sure that you follow, like if they wanted to follow you, connect with you.
Go right now to Vibranium Goal on Instagram. That's where really all of our activity is on social media. We're going to continue to build out our platforms. We're also on some of the other platforms, which you'll get that information when you go to our Vibranium Goal.
All right, y'all. We are closing out the vault. I promise you, this is a powerful concept that is reality if you join, though, right? When you think about Marcus Garvey, when you think about, Powernomics, when you think about all of what we've talked about with, closing the wealth gap, this is a real solution that I highly suggest rewatch this interview, because there was a lot of game that was given, a lot of explanation that was given on the importance of the blockchain, or the importance of a closed loop economy. And so go back, listen to this, share this with your friends, share this with your family. We need you in this community to join immediately. Make sure you're part of the financial revolution that's finally going to give us what we deserve as a community. There's other communities that do it. Why shouldn't we do it as a community? There's other opportunities that we missed out on, but this right now, today, is the opportune time to really change the trajectory. And not just for you, it's also for your kids, for your kids' kids. This is for the next generation. We have an opportunity to really access the abundance that is our birthright. D. Ferg, man, I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you. And I just want to say before we close, thank you for what you do.
Thank you, brother.
So important, man. It's great to see so many, young African-American brothers just really leaning into this, even giving us a voice and a platform to talk about this, man. It's so important. And I'm just proud of you, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, y'all. We are closing out the vault. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Inside the Vault. Join the Abundance Community. Go to abundancecommunity.org. We got exclusive behind-the-scene access. We got access to all, information that's going to change your mindset. The Abundance Community is the #1 financial spirituality community on the planet. Also, visit me, I am Ash Cash. Follow me on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. I'll see you next time for another awesome episode of Inside the Vault, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. We'll see you next time in God's will, y'all. All right, big.